It's your boy, the one and only Aswitch, aka the social distancing champion, aka the homebody hero, aka the chosen one. Bringing you yet another episode of Switch Sites, episode 49. Almost there. Today's date is April 2nd, 2020. Boy, we are on the wake of a lot of things, good and bad, unfortunately. It seems like the pandemic is somewhat getting worse to some extent. Yeah, that's ultimately it. And unfortunately affecting even more things than it already has. So I guess we'll get into that when we dish out the news. At least on the good side, a lot of big, huge, heavy hitter game releases coming out. We'll at least touch upon, but boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's just good and bad at the same time. It really is. But yeah, let's stop the dilly dallying. Get into it. The first topic of discussion, probably the biggest hit of all, and somewhat hot off the presses just earlier today. I believe via tweet from Naughty Dog as well as PlayStation. Unfortunately, The Last of Us 2 has been delayed indefinitely. Just the indefinite part hurts because it's like it's no particular date to strive for or like look forward to. It's like indefinite. That's just that just resonated with me so much that it is indefinite. So like in theory can never come out or something like that. I mean, I'm totally exaggerating, but still hurts the same. We were so close, just 1 month away or so, but yet again the carrot is extended longer for understandable reasons. So basically, The Last of Us Part 2 as well as Marvel's Iron Man VR, which I don't have any interest in, but they both been delayed until further notice. I guess specifically from a logistical standpoint due to the obvious pandemic going on. In terms of, I guess, specifically the physical launch or physical copies as well as, collector's editions and stuff like that. So totally understandable. I guess the issue, or not necessarily issue, but point of curiosity is why they didn't go with at least as the previous releases or recent games are doing, still going and sticking with the digital release, but just for the physical release, that's still being on hold. Because I can at least attest to that to some extent. So Resident Evil 3 supposed to be coming out today. I pre-ordered the physical copy and paid off and everything. And boy, yep. Now you kind of a little screwed. So you have to kind of. Apparently, I did some research, but apparently, GameStop has been pretty very, very non-transparent about it. Very coy, very just ambiguous and vague. But it seems like basically you have to wait until the store opens up to even get your copy, which, I mean, I get from obviously that standpoint, but it's kind of messed up. There isn't no easy or refined way to kind of basically circumvent that. So transfer the order to an online order instead and stuff like that, which is kind of messed up. But this is the environment we're in, and obviously you can't really blame well, necessarily GameStop, but you know, nobody prepared for this and nobody knew it was going to happen. So at the same time, understand it, but sucks nonetheless. So, which can be said the same for delay. But yeah, I guess specifically, I'm curious why they aren't going with a physical release. At least the statement from Naughty Dog, I'll read it verbatim. Quote, as you've likely just seen, the release of The Last of Us 2 has been delayed. We're sure this news is just as disappointing to you as it is to us. We wanted to reach out to all of you in our community to give you a little more information. The good news is we're nearly done with development of The Last of Us Part 2. We are in the midst of fixing our final bugs. However, even with us finishing the game, we were faced with the reality that due to logistics beyond our control, we couldn't launch The Last of Us Part 2 to our satisfaction. We want to make sure everyone gets to play The Last of Us Part 2 around the same time, ensuring that we're doing everything possible to preserve the best experience for everyone. This meant delaying the game until such a time where we can solve these logistic issues. We were bummed about this decision, but ultimately understood it's what's best and fair for all or to all of our players. We're hoping this won't be a long delay, and we'll update you as soon as we have new information to share. We wish you all, your families, and your friends the best of health. Thank you for being amazing fans and your continued support. Stay safe. Howdy dog. So, basically, it seems like it was still on track to be originally released at the, deadline, which is next month, but they, due to the physical edition concerns, they decided to indefinitely push it back. So, yeah, part of me would have at least liked an option to, play it digitally. But again, I mean, that wouldn't be fair for people who don't have as good of internet or internet where it's just unbearably painful to download something, So, it hurts. It hurts. Was really looking forward to that. That was at least what I thought was going to be like the last stretch or final light before video game releases were starting to be affected, depending on however this whole global pandemic is gonna pan out, which is still surreal to me. How much this is just the reality of this is still kind of surreal when you think about it. But yeah, R.I.P. So now it's starting to bring up some, I don't know, well, just questions overall. I feel like they're gonna have to release it digitally at least at some point. I hear people are like speculating maybe Last of Us Part 2 will take Ghost of Tsushima's release date in June and then push Ghost of Tsushima to September or something like that. So, I mean, the possibility is there. That would kind of make more sense because I think originally the first Last of Us did release in June. So that'd be kind of cool if it somehow, some way worked that way. But who knows? But yeah, just putting like indefinitely in front of it, I don't know. That's kind of dangerous territory, I'd say. I mean, it's understandable due to the pandemic, but I don't know. I guess, do you want to keep promising a date that you're not going to fulfill and like keep delaying the game consistently, or give you somewhat of a cushion and say indefinitely to kind of, give yourself some leeway in that extent? So it's tough because it's like, I feel like trying to think from the developer standpoint, now they don't have a technical definitive release date. It's like, well, I don't have to work as hard, don't have to crunch, which obviously from that standpoint is fine, but it's like, then how will the project get done? But they say it is almost done, so maybe they have like an invisible date that they put themselves to that they just maybe didn't release to us personally. Or who knows, maybe we just get like a shadow drop one day. I mean, obviously not at the date the original release date they had. But nonetheless, it's a lot that could happen. But yeah, that's crazy just to be indefinitely, no release date, and then it was, it's pretty much done for the most part. I mean, what they're saying, just ironing out bugs and stuff. So that's a tough one to swallow. It really is. Well, especially in this time where a lot of people do have the time to play it more than ever, if anything. Especially those two. Yeah, man. Oh well. Hey, as long it'll lead to ultimately better game in the long run. So, I mean, you can't be all too upset about it. Um, Sucks nonetheless, though. Well, moving on from that very somber aspect, we'll get into some more interesting news. And you know what? Before that, it's kind of ironic. Do you think, considering what kind of Last of Us touches on, technically, somewhat of a pandemic, if you will, that it is delayed due to said pandemic. Not the one for one, but ironic that this game that does somewhat loosely revolve around a major outbreak pandemic is affected by a pandemic. I just realized the kind of irony of that, which is funny to me. But I digress. So next in getting to some rumory news now, or somewhat valid rumors, not like I don't try to, talk about very, very, very abstract or just super he said, she said, he said, man, that's a tongue twister. He said, she said, she said. I don't got it. I don't get it. But at least to some valid leakers that do have a reputation of being credible. So that's at least the kind of tact I at least try to keep, at least when I'm talking about rumors, and I just have it just blow it out my ass. Oh man, eat a marshmallow, you can get 500 rupees in Zelda or something. I don't know. That'd be funny though. I'm just saying. Miyamoto, I know he doesn't make Zelda. The guy who makes Zelda, that shows you how much of a Zelda fan I am. Not, but hey, I'm just saying, I got all these ideas. You could take them if you want. I'm just putting it out there, just putting it in the universe. So getting back in terms of some murmurs about the next Resident Evil after obviously the imminent Resident Evil 3. There's supposedly a new title in 2021 that's going to be quote unquote the biggest departure for the series. So this is by the pretty credible rumor leaker really, Aesthetic Gamer, aka Dusk Golem. Specifically, he reveals some deets about this new Resident Evil title. So it's basically some loose details regarding it specifically. Just details, at least in regards to mainly the development of it. So apparently it started development in late 2016. So it seems like it was in conjunction with the games of Resident Evil 7 and stuff like that. And it's been in development for four to 4.5 years. That's interesting. And then he's being pretty good about hiding his tracks, if anything. But he used some very interesting wording, to say the least. So in terms of its development, he says development is very similar to the original Resident Evil 3, not the remake, which is, I guess, the only correlation you can get from that is that, at least going by Resident Evil 3, which was originally a spin-off. I believe it was a spin-off, because at least, Resident Evil fans, rip me up if you want, but I think I'm pretty versed in the knowledge. But I believe after Resident Evil 2, um, Resident Evil 3 that we know today was a spin off, and then Code Veronica was actually going to be Resident Evil 3 or something like that, or technically Resident Evil 4, roughly, at least on the drawing board initially. But obviously, a lot of that changed, and I think Capcom, with the exclusivity with Dreamcast, I think they formed kind of, I think it, in addition with GameCube as well, with the Capcom 5 releasing, or that might have been a different agreement, but basically releasing the next few Resident Evil titles exclusively to the GameCube. I guess, for a particular time period, which I believe that affected the development or the, I guess, roadmap in terms of how they were going about developing. Either way, Resident Evil 3, the original one, was intended to be a spin-off originally, and then I think they, after the fact, put Jill as the main character and basically molded it into a mainline game. So that's the only thing I can kind of make from, that word in the development is very similar to original Resident Evil 3. So technically, I guess it was going to be a spinoff, and then now they put it back within as a main Resident Evil game, I guess. But yeah, he said he won't expand on that or what he means by that until later. The announcement for it will be really soon, and is by far the biggest departure the series has ever taken. So that's probably the biggest takeaway from this. The biggest departure the series has ever taken. It's a lot of interpretation there, at least, because Resident Evil has definitely taken a lot of drastic changes in general. When you think about it, obviously Resident Evil 7 was pretty drastic, I'd say. You had the on-rail shooters like Umbrella Chronicles, Survivor, Dark Side Chronicles, but it was somewhat of a departure, but not drastic, I guess. It was drastic in terms of just the genre, but it still felt familiar, I guess. It still felt Resident Evil like, if that makes sense. So for at least biggest departure the series ever taken, I don't know. That's either telling me it's going to be a huge genre change again. Well, I guess technically first person shooter from third person is not necessarily, I would consider it though, being a huge genre change. That's a whole camera perspective that does definitely, I think, change a lot with how you interpret the game. So I think that does come into play to some extent, but I don't know. Biggest departure is telling me that it's either going to be yet another drastic genre change, or just because it couldn't be, my other guess or suspicion would be that it would maybe for the worst go back to Resident Evil 6 or something like that, but that wouldn't really make sense, and that wouldn't be a big departure because that'd be something that they've already done before. So my guess is and I feel like it's a theme with almost every damn big franchise is we've pretty much done everything we could think of. You know what? Let's just do a tactics game. So honestly, I feel like that might be pretty likely. Resident Evil Tactics or something like that, where it'd be a real time strategy game, RTS, whatever you want to call it. Where maybe you're managing 5 characters in the kind of vein of an RPG, but maybe you're playing set battles or areas, locales in a game, and then you have to kind of manage various stuff like health, resources, survival stuff, maybe So maybe like a little bit of a state of decay elements in there, roughly. Not 1 to 1, but uh, yeah, I wouldn't want that, but I feel like that might be pretty likely. That's I think the one genre they haven't done, and I feel like it's generally the genre a lot of huge franchises ultimately do at some point for some strange ass reason, I guess. And obviously, Gears is gonna come out with one. Halo did one. What else? Who did? Metal Gear did one. Uh, yeah, and again, all of those are big established franchises, just like Resident Evil. So I really hope it's not, but I can't at least fathom anything else that would warrant at least wording biggest departure the series has ever taken. And on top of that, one other detail, I'll finish his statement. To the point, I expect a lot of people will be pissed off about it when it gets revealed, but they should be open minded. Internal testing and the like show it's a high quality game, and I'm quite excited for it. So I don't know. See, like that could be interpreted in just as many ways as well. But yeah, man, that's a lot of people will be pissed off about it when it gets revealed. So I don't. Yeah, so you're gonna have to change something super drastically that fans are used to, which, uh, yeah, that's very vague, very wide open, but that still will kind of be in the lines of going RTS, I think, still, because you won't be able to, consistently control your character like a lot of people want. Like a big prime example, Yakuza 7 or Yakuza Like a Dragon in the West. That's kind of an issue I have with it. I haven't played it yet, or it hasn't come out in the West, but that's still another factor as well. So I mean, yeah, man, my guess is definitely going the RTS route. I think that would piss a lot of people off, like doing a huge genre change, like it did with Yakuza 7. So, yeah, that might be a thing. That's the only thing I could think of that would still try to keep it somewhat familiar with Resident Evil, but not at the same time ultimately compromise the essence of what makes Resident Evil in terms of, zombies, bioterrorism, and things of that nature. So, uh, yeah, I guess a part of me doesn't even want to fantasize about what what they could do horribly that would piss off fans, I guess. But we'll find out apparently soon enough. I guess sometime after Resident Evil 3 is all said and done. But interesting stuff. And I guess adding to that rumor, apparently M2, which is the studio that was working on Resident Evil 3, is working on a larger remake project for Capcom. So, I will want it to be. I mean, I'd want it to be a lot of Capcom properties. Actually, I mean, Onimusha, Dino Crisis, of course, Vito Joe. But I don't know. They kind of at least with the recent rumors previously about remakes, it seemed like Dino Crisis is kind of out of the equation because they said they did at one time explore it, but they just didn't get anything going, so they kind of scrapped it basically. So at least indicated at one time they were almost on the brink of, working on it and making it a thing, but for whatever reason it didn't ultimately pan out. So I would assume they would take some time to cool that off for a bit before trying to revisit it, but could be wrong. This sounds like it's recent that they're kind of starting to move on to this larger project since Resident Evil 3 is almost pretty much said and done technically, I believe. I don't know how their roadmap is, but it could vary. So I don't know what it. I hope personally, I'd hope it would be Onimusha. That would seem to be pretty. Because I don't know. I don't think Onimusha the remaster sold well, but personally, I would want it to be Onimusha. But it is a remake. I guess it would make sense to go to Code Veronica, but apparently they're not remaking Code Veronica. They squashed those rumors. So I don't know. I don't know at this point, but it's a remake of a Capcom game. I mean, considering they remade Resident Evil 3, they are I feel like they're sticking in that same vein, maybe. So that would only lead me to think that it's either Dino Crisis or Onimusha, but could be anything, I guess, technically, but I don't know. Consider what they've done already. I feel like that's somewhat indicative of what they're going to be doing going forward. So who knows, but I guess that's kind of unrelated, but still sticking with Capcom related news or rumors, if you will. But uh, hopefully we'll find out soon. But man, yeah, Onimusha remastered or yeah, Onimusha remastered would be pretty great though. Just in the RE engine. I mean, really, you put anything in the RE engine, that's just going it's gonna look great. You're just gonna want to lick the screen every time. But I digress. Moving on. So finally, um, this is it feels like this is a long time coming, if anything, but um, they recently announced that Nier Replicant, basically, I totally didn't know about this for the longest, at least when I started playing Nier, but basically the first Nier or Nier One, whatever, is called Nier Replicant in Japan, where basically that copy had a younger protagonist, or main protagonist that you play the game with, but in the U.S. or the West, you will play as a much older person. At least that's the version I played. But apparently that's the definitive version. There isn't going to be, I guess, any way to play the, I guess, technical original version that came for us in the West, which is very minor, really. But I mean, it's a younger dude and then an older dude. They looked pretty different when you compared the two, but interesting nonetheless. But it's a full blown remake, or my bad, remaster. It is a remaster. Let me rephrase that. So essentially the same game, but with a lot of improvements here and there. I'd assume that makes sense. Possibly a new ending that was at least hinted, but not 100% on that. But yeah, it. I'm kind of mad because it's like I recently, and by recently I meant like within the last year, at least last year, I finally got around to beating the original Nier on at least I played the 360 version, and it was pretty great. I'm glad I did put the time into it. It had a really unique aspect, different like fresh take on what can be in games and just the art form, which was pretty cool. So, but it was like, oh well, now we remade it. Like, oh damn it. I might just try it out, explore a little bit, see what it is. But I don't know if I. It's a commitment to play Near. I felt because not to get too spoilery. I think it's safe to say, but essentially, I'll say this: you are meant to play the game to get the full experience of the game, which I do recommend. You are supposed to play the game multiple times or beat the game multiple times, basically. So, with that, I don't know. Yeah, just asking me to play the game. I recently played again. I don't know. Might play it one time, just get the okay. I know where this is going. I know where everything is. But then now they're teasing you with like additional endings and new tracks. It's gonna be tough, and they're probably gonna make it more connected to Nier Automata, which is the sequel. I assume. Yeah, it's gonna be tempting. Gonna be tempting. We'll see. But good on people that played Automata and maybe didn't play the first one. Um, I think this is definitely a win, a get for those folks as well. So, cool stuff. Getting into some pretty juicy stuff, I'd say. So apparently, I think it's probably been a common request demand for people, in particular Switch owners. Just I'd say, admittedly, the kind of unusual lack of support for Mario titles. Because I mean, it isn't a Nintendo console without like an abundance of Mario games. Which I guess technically you have New Super Mario 3, New Super Mario Brothers U, I think, Mario Maker 2, and then Mario Odyssey. I think those at least are the ones so far, which is understandable. And then you, of course, you got I don't consider these like mainline Mario games, obviously, but like Mario Kart and Mario Tennis and things of that ilk, if you will, kind of like not actually Mario games, but games of that include the Mario lore. I guess I don't know. To me, I just don't compartmentalize the Mario side games as Mario main games, Mario Party and stuff like that. So either way, in terms of the mainline Mario games, apparently there are going to be some plans for the 35th anniversary, which I believe that is, I think it's sometime in June, technically. Yeah. So apparently, there is supposed to be a lot of remakes coming for the Switch. One being Mario Brothers 64, or did I get it? Super Mario 64, and Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy, which I hear that's like the holy grail of Mario games. Or obviously they all have their niche fans, but they're definitely generally the highly regarded Mario titles as well. That would be pretty big. It will make sense. I mean, considering the expansive Switch library, and it does have a just noticeably lackluster, I guess, support for mainline Mario titles. I mean, of course, you got the older Mario games and stuff like that, but just essentially like the traditional current Mario games, it's kind of lacking, I'd say, in that department. Not to say, hey, there's nothing to play Mario wise, there is, but in terms of what's expected from the previous Mario games, I'd say. But yeah, it seems like a lot of rumors are hinting at there's gonna be a lot of Mario support for the Mario fans out there. So Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario 64, high definition remasters. So, there you go. I guess I technically haven't. Yeah, when I think about it, I haven't really beat a 3D Mario game fully. I know I definitely beat Mario 3, I believe Super Mario World, but not Mario, any of the newer ones or the 3D Marios, even 64. I think I was close. Played maybe about a good half. I'm sorry, all right? Take away my game card now. I apologize. Okay, I haven't played a lot of Zelda games. All right, you can take my card right now. But either way, cool. As someone who's been looking at the sidelines, at least, keeping up with Mario, even though I'm not the biggest fan of playing them. I have Odyssey. I haven't played Odyssey, or I've played it but I haven't fully beat it, basically. So it's cool. I definitely want to probably the most appealing for me personally would be 64. Just seeing that in like 3D would be crazy, or modernized compared to the blockiness of 64 would be crazy. That'll probably be out of the games. I probably won't be interested in playing them most for sure. If all this is true, I mean, obviously a grain of salt, but I don't know. Seems pretty likely if you ask me. But I don't know. Of course, with the pandemic, of course, everything could just be canceled. Which is understandable. Safety first. Safety first. Moving on. It was a pretty interesting podcast. I do say I do enjoy my podcast, video game podcast specifically. Hence, what do you know? Me doing a podcast myself, but in particular, for Podcast Unlocked, which is the IGN Xbox podcast. Listen to it. Basically, the one in particular I'm mentioning, 437, including the head of Xbox, God Daddy Xbox, Phil Spencer, talking about doing a one-on-one interview with Ryan McCaffrey in terms of everything. I guess obviously in the future of the Series X and related stuff. It was some takeaways, a lot of stuff we did know, but it was definitely some things I think that was worth touching on. I'd say the biggest takeaway specifically was regarding actually Scalebound, which is the title that was canceled for Xbox, that supposedly might be coming back with another Nintendo specifically in terms of maybe being exclusive, but given Phil's statement, seems like he pretty much killed any possibility of that, at least what he knows. So basically he said it is canceled. There's no really inkling of it coming back, and that basically that he's pretty sure Platinum isn't working on it. So I mean, if Platinum was working on it, of course there would be some indication that maybe it's coming back, maybe not specifically with Xbox or what have you. But apparently his statement is like, yeah, Scalebound's pretty much dead. Any hopes you have for that, you probably need to take care of now, because I don't think it's coming back. So I obviously never say never, but at least from what he said, it's pretty much been moved on and not to be explored again. One other interesting aspect, as someone who's very adamant about, I guess, connections with the next Xbox or next generation consoles in general. I guess one thing I didn't bring up, which is actually, at least for me, I know your mileage may vary or depending on the person, but the Series X pretty much is not going to have an optical port, and that sucks. I mean, it's not big to you probably, but to me, man, an optical port, that is crazy. So at least for me, an optical port is pretty essential, specifically for headset audio and quality, as well as obviously you can use it for your home theater setup and stuff like that as well. But generally, just having the option of either or, a dedicated audio outlet specifically for your headset, while also having the option of routing the audio to your home theater system via HDMI or whatever. So to somebody like me, that was a pretty big hurt. That was a big sting to the heart. I guess in my head I was like, no, that's not true. I don't think that's true. And then it actually was when I was looking it up. So, but apparently they're gonna have some stuff to kind of circumvent that. I know specifically with the current Xbox, they are using audio through a headset or through USB instead, which might, I guess, be somewhat of a solution or workaround, I guess, for my particular use of optical audio, which is for headsets. So who knows? I guess we'll only ultimately find out until after it's released and all said and done. But at least in the interview, he did say that they are supporting or patching an update for current headsets to carry over the support to the Series X, so you don't technically have to buy a whole new headset. If you had it for your Xbox One X, it should be able to transfer over to the Series X in terms of compatibility, which is totally cool. It's understandable. Apparently, obviously, $2 does stack up if you trying to sell like 500 million consoles or whatever. So I mean, which essentially he explained that was the reason why, because yeah, it basically cost too much to keep it in. So would have liked at least like a dongle, or I mean that could be a possibility. I don't know, a USB dongle or something, but optical, it's gone. I'll miss you. I'll miss you, optical. You were there for me. I was there for you. One day we may meet again. So, very miscellaneous disappointment aside. Yeah, in terms of everything else, I guess another big point was obviously the current pandemic, and if this pandemic will affect the planned release of holiday 2020. He seemed to be non-committal about that. He seemed to say that basically it was what's the word? It could happen, but the plan is to get to stay on track for that planned release window. So it technically just didn't really give us any information really than what we were already suspecting. But basically on his end is like, hey, safety of our employees is more important, which is of course understandable. And what happens happens, essentially. Totally paraphrasing, but that's at least the gist I got from it. Yeah. Outside of that, yeah, I guess he was talking about launch day lineup. If like consoles are affected, like if the consoles are delayed, will the game still release like Halo Infinite and stuff? Again, yeah, not really too committal on that as well. He did touch on crossplay as well in regards specifically to him being like a big proponent for it, which I do believe he was. He definitely helped a lot in the initiative of getting crossplay to be a thing. But yeah, outside of that, more so the same. Some interesting stuff of like what he thought about Mark Cerny's presentation on the PS5 and stuff. So definitely recommend you guys give it a listen on YouTube and podcasting platforms as well. But yeah, just thought I'd touch on that. Just I guess specifically just for killing our dreams of Scalebound possibly coming back. So it's dead. So people that wanted Scalebound, it's not gonna happen. And then Phil Spencer just Phil Spencer brings Rada to the stage. Hey Rada, I know you want you got something to say to these folks. Don't ask me for shit. All right, okay, all right. You brought them all the way from Japan just to say okay, all right. All right. You just gonna rub it in? Okay, all right. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, Phil. All right, appreciate it. This money is going back in my pocket. All right, the Series X is not being purchased anymore. Nope, no. Just to think, the audacity of them really trying to do that. Literally bring Rada to say what he wanted to say. Don't ask me for shit. Really, Phil, you really flew him out for that. You flew him out of his home from Japan just to come here and just say that one statement. All right, you could at least just put a video of him saying, "All right, okay, Phil. All right, now you're pissing me off, Phil." Moving on. So at least there was, at least initially when this story came out about, well, I mean, boy, this had a long track record. So basically, Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, the campaign, basically it was a lot of rumors pretty much throughout the past 2 years that it was gonna come. It was a thing, maybe, maybe not. It was gonna be bundled with a game, like at least Modern Warfare Remastered did with Infinite Warfare. But finally, we at least got a leak earlier this week that I think it was listed on a Germany store. Yeah, PS Store Germany. Basically leaked a listing of the game, and it was like, it seems like somewhat of a given now. And then, of course, it ultimately did. It released, I think, Tuesday along Modern Warfare's update. So basically, Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, the campaign specifically released, so it's not bundled in with the main game or the current game, Modern Warfare 2019. But there is some benefit to being an owner of the current Modern Warfare game, which basically is the Ghost bundle, which basically is some cool blueprint guns, some the traditional packs if you are playing Modern Warfare, the multiplayer, which is cool. I guess obviously the big elephant in the room is like, well, why isn't there no multiplayer? So apparently, I think it's apparent from that standpoint that basically they don't want to detract from the multiplayer they have with, Modern Warfare, as well as, the recent Warzone free to play Battle Royale mode as well. So I feel like they might release it at some point, but yeah, man. I mean, that's definitely hands down my favorite multiplayer, favorite Call of Duty, specifically in regards to the multiplayer. I'd say campaign as well. I think I really did like the campaign a lot also. So kind of hurts that it's not there, but there might be. I think there was rumors about like a dedicated Modern Warfare 2 map pack being released at some point, maybe with Season 3 possibly, because that's gonna be next week. I think sometime next week will be officially Season 3, which is generally the basis of doing a big, content drop of a lot of stuff where they, introduce a lot of maps, weapons, and stuff. So that could be, they might be setting themselves up for that, because I mean, this came out the week before that, so that would be pretty cool. I mean, I would be fine with that, because I do think, honestly, after playing it so much, Modern Warfare 2019 is definitely the best recent Modern Warfare to date, in my opinion. I put it at least just behind Modern Warfare 2, so it's definitely a testament to how great the game is. So luckily there is that. I wouldn't be too butthurt as long as we get pretty much all the multiplayer maps from Modern Warfare 2. As I guess clouded it would make the multiplayer space, but boy, that would be such a damn win for me. That might raise it up, if not equally, to Modern Warfare 2, if getting a vibe and feel for all the maps and how everything plays. Cause boy, that'd be a pretty great constellation if we don't get the original multiplayer itself, or remaster multiplayer, what have you. So all in all, cool stuff. Finally we get access to it, but kind of a annoying aspect if you it's exclusive or timed exclusive to PS4 until April 30th, where you can then play on the Xbox One version and the PC version. You can pre-order the games for those either or platforms, and you get the pack as well, which is okay, but I mean, that sucks. So I guess that might be a part of that exclusivity deal with PS4, where they probably with the dumb arbitrary survival mode being exclusive, now they had this time exclusive of Modern Warfare 2. But nonetheless, it's fine. It's okay, I guess. Just release the, just get rid of this console exclusivity. I mean, of course, that's probably never gonna happen, but at least from Call of Duty, okay, it's like everybody plays it on everything. All right. Uh, hopefully that I think it might be ending soon in terms of the contract, because obviously it, not really obviously, but before it used to be with Xbox, which I didn't have no problem with because I always associated Call of Duty with Xbox personally, at least going from the back in the day. But um yeah, hopefully it just is neutral now. Now that they've thankfully at least got rid of the annoying ass map exclusivity time frames where you one platform would get the map pack for 30 days and then afterward it will release on other platforms. So I mean, if of the lesser evils, this is definitely the best scenario for that in particular. At least the kind of the meat and heart of the game is essentially unaffected by this exclusivity crap. So good stuff. Keeping in with multiplayer news, apparently, Apex Legends is gonna have duos come in permanently. So obviously, I don't know why I keep saying obviously. It's not obvious to you. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm assuming you know all this stuff, but you don't. This is what I'm here for. But I digress. So, for those that don't know, in terms of Apex Legends, the battle royale game, it generally does have uh, trios where basically a team of three. That's generally, I guess, the meat and potatoes, if you will, mainline kind of method of their game's battle royale mode. But I know they've kind of messed around with other modes, but as like limited time events. Like I think they did solos at one time. I want to say they did duos at one time as well, but at least now it's supposedly going to be permanent with this new event going up, which is cool. I guess that's really the only thing I want to mention. But yeah, now with Warzone now, yeah, that's pretty much my main battle royale game I do play, which I've not been lately. But it's cool. Maybe I'll give it another go. But it's like now that we got Warzone, it's like I don't really feel like going back to Apex now. But who knows? Who knows? Cool stuff though. Maybe if they get a solo mode going, that might be me coming back. Cause I don't know. It's this thing I just have kind of gotten whenever I play battle royale games is that they just forcing you to be on a team is kind of sucky if you don't have a team to roll with. People drop out if you die and just unreliability. The ping system did help out a lot, I'd say. Does help communicate with people that don't want to communicate or have the option to communicate, which is good. So, but yeah, still, I just feel like there's more enrichment playing solo, specifically with this game type, if you at least have the option to. So, for what it's worth, that pretty much covers all the pertinent news for for the week. It's been crazy, man. It's been a crazy week. I forgot to mention about Final Fantasy VII. Apparently, some of the copies got leaked. Well, not necessarily leaked. I believe they intentionally released it early, to mitigate the issues with COVID-19 in terms of shipment and stuff like that. So, yeah, but just keeping that out there. Just watch out for spoilers because it could happen. It could happen. Do you want to be spoiled with Final Fantasy VII? I mean, obviously it's a remake, so there might be some same beats that if you played the game from 10, 20 years ago, it'd still be there. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Hopefully hopefully I get mine early. If not, I'm screwed in terms of the NSOL. But good on Square Enix for at least releasing the games early, just in the hopes that you get the game early. Well, get the game on time at least. So, but people want to be entitled now. People are complaining about not being able to stream it early, not being able to technically release it early. But it's like, just abide by the release guidelines. If anything, they said, hey, if you get it, you can play it, but just don't post spoilers and stuff. And people are still fussy about that. I don't get it, but hey, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Okay, let's talk about what I've been up to lately, gaming wise, of course. Of course, been putting in some time in Modern Warfare. Not as much recently. I've been trying to catch up on some other games, but all the same, been putting some time in. But at least in my area, internet's been kind of iffy in terms of it seems to be a theme at peak times is when the internet will be having issues, or maybe just acclimating to our new somewhat reality now with everybody being at home technically. That basically just the internet providers freaking out, having issues, that everybody's at home and they weren't necessarily prepared for this type of environment. Who knows? But that's been fun. So that's kind of been starting to veer me towards single player games, at least considering that. So been trying a couple of the games. One in particular, Predator Hunting Grounds. So basically, this game, it came out, it was very lackluster and very not really impressive looking, if anything. But yeah, after playing it, it definitely looks. So basically, there was a demo, or I think free access or free play weekend or whatever before it comes out or something. I gave it a shot. I played like one match as the enemy, where basically it's a asymmetrical game, kind of like Evolve and I guess Project Resistance and Dead by Daylight, where it's one real player that's the enemy and like four or five players that are the kind of the opposing team, or at least in this case, one person is the predator and the other people are just, I guess, generic mercenaries. This is all considering I've not watched a single Predator movie. I just am familiar with some of the pop culture references and stuff. So keep that in mind, that I'm not speaking as a Predator expert or whatever. But yeah, I played it. Yeah, I just was not feeling it. I felt. I will say it does look way better than the trailers made it look to be from a graphical standpoint. At least maybe since then they might have just did some polishing up of some of the graphics and textures. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, the gunplay felt alright. At least as a mercenary. But outside of that, I don't know. There's just something about it that just didn't stick with me. And I didn't get a chance to play the Predator, at least multiplayer wise, but I messed around with the tutorial, and I don't know, just something about a game when you play it for a little bit and you're like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Just something about like it felt like it lacked soul. It's kind of one of those games, it felt like to me at least, where it just lacked just authenticity, soul, I don't know, personality, I guess. Just some identification. It just didn't feel like it stood for anything. If that, I'm trying to get to some point there, but I think you know what I mean. It just the trailers weren't too far from the actual game, outside of the graphical standpoint. But yeah, don't plan to play that game again. Right after that, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not really feeling this. I just straight up deleted it. And I'm like, no, I'm good. So there was that. Also, I played a little bit of Resistance, but again, I had some network issues, so I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'll play it when the full game comes out anyway, um, which is what I was gonna expect there. So, because boy, it was some hella lag, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm all right. Um, I'm still up for playing it though. It's just at least in my current environment, it's not really wasn't feasible at the time. So, and then there's always the time after it comes out to mess with it anyway. So then, of course, since last episode, finished Crisis Core. Boy, that is still a damn good game, at least from a story standpoint. I'd say even the gameplay is still pretty good. It's this weird kind of I guess the closest thing it reminds me of at least is Kingdom Hearts, where I don't know, Kingdom Hearts felt like it was this weird halfway point between turn based and controllable action, where you kind of are controlling the character, but at the same time you're not, because it's like you're controlling them, but they do the actions delayed for the most part. So the player like registers your commands as commands and basically does one after the other, where it's not, obviously fluid like a traditional action game or whatever. So but outside of that, I mean, it was still great to play, see all the characters, see just kind of the backstory before Final Fantasy VII again, because the last time I played Crisis Core was like, boy, like probably when it came out in '09 or '08, one of those, I think. Maybe even earlier than that. Actually, let me fact check that. Let me fact check that. It, 2007. Wow. Yeah, so I was late. I was late to the train. September 13th, 2007. So, I guess that'll explain me. Because I remember, I think I have the greatest hits version, which obviously is after the game has been out for a while. So, but I think I already talked about that issue I had with the PSP in the terms of the disc reader ultimately hacking the game or whatever, to get it playing. But man, yeah, it was a great experience. Boy, the story hits. Boy, it hits so hard. It really does. Boy, that ending. It's been a while, and I knew it was coming, but boy, it hits the same. It really does. Uh, just, the trials and tribulations of a soldier, and kind of all that comes and tells with it. Just the message, the theme. It just all resonated with me. It really did. Highly recommend it if you have not played it. Especially, I'm just getting hyped for the remake, and wanted to play some not pertinent, but relevant games beforehand. So did that as well as getting some Final Fantasy VII. So basically, I played up until basically the where the game is supposedly going to end in terms of the remake. Which I was very surprised, actually. I thought it was going to be, I don't know, it was going to be more just, yeah, I can't even describe it really. I guess I thought it was going to be more cliffhangery. Just like as I was playing it, I was kind of fantasizing, like, how is it going to translate to the remake in terms of how they're going to handle, I guess, ending a game that's only going to technically be partially the game, But boy, after I, completed the segment, I'm not going to get into spoilers because I know some people have maybe never played, 20 years after, but yeah, it just felt pretty conclusive. So I guess thinking about it, I was like, yeah, if this were to end in the remake, consider it's going to be longer and a lot of stuff is going to be more fleshed out, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I mean, obviously it's not ideal, but I take this over, not being able to play it way longer until we're like all of us are super old and what is that Final Fantasy 7 people talking about or whatever, you know. That's the dementia. And that's I lost my memory of the game in case you were wondering. Okay. But yeah, yeah, it was fine. I felt content. If it like, I think it was kind of like how I would want to end in a B, where it's like, yeah, it does give you something to look forward to, but it felt like it concluded a lot of the elements that you did want concluded. Um, Even though obviously there's the big main line thing, but I don't know. It did I did feel content with how the original segment ended if I were to visualize it actually ending at that time and then having to wait for whatever amount of time for the next one. So it was cool. It was okay. It was all right. Obviously, again, I want the full blown game, but considering the kind of realism of it all, yeah, to do it justice, yeah, it's understandable that they'd have to go this route. So, but still getting on that what nostalgia train, hype train. I guess both technically. I decided to go back to Resident Evil 1 remake, play that. Actually the other day. Boy, man, that game. It's just a lot of these games just hold up, and I guess then again, I'm pretty lenient on kind of mechanics and archaic mechanics and systems and things like that, and it's something about this that like they just all hold up. I mean, obviously, Resident Evil 1 remake is one of the greatest games ever in general. So I mean, that's more or less a credit to just how great the game is, but yeah, man. And I guess it could be a testament to how I played. So this time I was like, let me try to scoop up some of these trophies. I decided to play on PS4 since I uninstalled it for the PC. I think I would have played it otherwise, but I was like, only like a couple trophies away to getting a platinum. Might as well. So I think there was two I was missing specifically. It was one for what was it? Um, Complete the game using only a knife and beat the game in invisible enemy mode. Part of me was like, I could just do both, right? And nah. After playing invisible enemy mode, boy, that mess is stressful. Let me tell you, I was actually made me feel like just some really classic Resident Evil, just like fear, item management. I don't know if I have enough bullets to survive this encounter and stuff like that. But then on top of that, it's like you in turn lose some ammo and things like that due to the fact that you don't know if an enemy is dead or not because you can't see them. So it's like it's now that new element where like I found myself a lot just like out of nervous and anxiousness. I would down an enemy, but then I would keep shooting just to make sure it's dead because it may still be up, but I'm not sure. And then there's like, there's the aggravating element that you can't auto aim, of course, because they're invisible. A part of me, I don't know, thought that you could still auto aim them because it's like you just can't see them, but the game would guide you that way. But I found that super difficult too because then like with the auto aim, it will automatically track you to the person, but not having that like assistance as well kind of made it harder too because now I'm having to be more conscientious of my shots and like try to line them up for sure and make sure they're actually hitting them, which you can kind of deduce by a distinct sound the enemies make that lets you know that you hit them. I think your controller vibrates as well if it's a hit. I forgot. I know in some games, some of the Resident Evil games, it does that, but either way, it was a lot of stuff, a lot of more work that came into play when it came to that. But ultimately, what under 6 hours later, I did it. I did it. I did have to. I did have to knock the difficulty down because I'm like, I can't see enemies and they hurt real bad. And that's the thing too. I'm not sure. I played it on very easy, but it sure as hell didn't feel like it was on very easy because the enemies hurt real good. So that's telling me that maybe it was just some blanket with that mode in particular, invisible enemy mode. There's some blanket difficulty for it, regardless, that like ignores the difficulty level or something. Because it did not feel like I was playing on easy. I died legitimately a couple times. At least the damage felt like hard. Because whenever I get hit or bit a couple times, it seemed to be way more than what I would expect from easy. But who knows? Maybe I'm just not that good. That could be a factor. Let's not rule that out. I'll maintain the humbleness, of course. But yeah, ultimately, boy, it is stressful, man. It really is. But there were some cool tells you can kind of get. I guess it does kind of bring attention to like the environmental kind of graphical quality of the game, where you can still see the zombies through mirrors and I think water puddles as well, where basically you can at least get a somewhat of a gauge of where they're at and located. And boy, it totally reminded me of the most dreadful factor of it all is that you still have to, obviously burn the enemies. So, or basically, if you don't, they'll eventually turn the Crimson Heads, which are like the super uber, like 10 times version of the zombies that are much faster, more hurtful, cause more damage. So then on top of that, you have to kind of remember where you killed the person or where they fell. So you have to try to take a mental note and then burn them. On top, yeah, it's just stress on stress, man. It was fun though. It was fun. Lisa Trevor, just invisible, and then it's like, well, I'm gonna get hit, and that's what you kind of had to process. At least the mentality I had going in. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get hit because I can't see them. So, I'd stocked up on some healing items and stuff like that. So, all in all, it was pretty fun. It was pretty cool way to play. I never played it before. I was always fearful of it, which was pretty valid after the fact because, boy, it is terrifying. It's one thing to hear them and then see them, but then just hearing them and not knowing where they're at is like a whole different experience. Most of the enemies I knew where they would spawn or be or expect, but there was some standouts that did catch me off guard just a little bit. Just a little bit. So there was that. Also did play a little bit of Devil May Cry 3 with a friend. We played the co-op. It was pretty fun. Definitely makes you wish that hopefully it's gonna come in the, I assume and hope, the Devil May Cry 5 special edition. Just playing that is just gonna make you mad that there isn't one yet in the Devil May Cry 5. I assume so. At this point, they opened up that box of box of chocolates. I don't know why I use that analogy, but I mean, you never know what you're gonna get, right? Okay, I'm sorry. I had to follow through. I'm sorry. I had to follow through with it. So yeah, it just makes you wish there was it would come on other platforms and Devil May Cry 5 ultimately, but really really good they added it nonetheless. I'm definitely thankful for that. Also keeping in the damn remake, RE3 hype train, RE2 remake. So played that, kind of that last night, trying to just get a good refresher since from the trailers and stuff. Obviously there's there's a lot of references to RE3, or a lot of direct correlations to RE2. So it was really cool seeing like, oh yeah, we're gonna explore that. I wonder how that's gonna play out in 3, or if they're gonna elaborate on that, explore that in 3. So that's been pretty fun playing. I'm playing on hardcore, and it's been a while since I played RE2. But boy, it's been pretty fun. It made me forget how great the game is, just knowing all the elements and fear and item management again. Just makes me appreciate Resident Evil from that standpoint, just playing these initial games beforehand. So I'll definitely at least have fresh in my head a direct comparison between, some of the greatest kind of highly regarded games in the series. So all in all, actually, when I think about it, that's a lot I've played since last episode. But I did, and it was great. It was great. Well, obviously the pandemic is, if anything, I mean, I would do this otherwise, but now I'm more inclined to. Of course, I'm gonna do it. So, yeah. So all in all, that's pretty much what I've been up to there. Of course, Walking Dead. I don't think I talked about the last few episodes, but boy, the last few have been getting super juicy. I tell you. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but boy, some very interesting turns. I totally didn't see coming. Actually, they did some stuff I did not see what happened, which is good. I do appreciate that. It keeps everything involved. And I guess on top of that, I guess this weekend is going to be the finale. Unfortunately, I guess they're going to end one episode early for the finale, and I guess they said they're going to show the premiere later in the year, but obviously due to the coronavirus, and I guess they said specifically for the visual effects for the finale, that I guess they can't do at home or whatever, maybe need some reshoots and stuff like that, I would assume. So yeah, Walking Dead's getting real good right now. It's starting to hit back in stride. I mean, it was always consistent this season, but it's just a lot of stuff is hitting the fan, getting climaxed, and I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. Yeah. I do plan on catching on Castlevania at some point, as well as I really want to know what this damn movie or series, or I'm not even sure what it is ultimately. This Tiger King, I guess, is something about this wrestler, or I guess just a wrangler of tigers or something like that. I don't even know most of it, but something. It's some crazy story, I guess, but I definitely am interested in seeing what all the fuss is about with that, because I've been hearing that like relentlessly, like, oh man, it's Tiger King, blah 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 blah. Okay, I gotta see what this is all about. Not that I'm a follower or anything, I mean, if it's something I'm interested in, I'm gonna get interested. I'm gonna look into it, first, see what the fuss is all about. So, yeah, I think that concludes episode 49 of Switches Sites. If you're listening to this podcast on your respective podcasting platforms, wherever that is, definitely appreciate you liking, subscribing, and provided any feedback, good or bad, is appreciated. You can also catch me recording live on Twitch TV/Aswitch, where I do record the podcast live real time. You can also, finally, I could say this now, it's been the longest since the whole entirety of the show. You can catch me on youtube.com/Aswitch, where I do also put the VOD as well for YouTubers that like to listen to the podcast that way as well. So you have no excuse. Okay, I've given you everything. What more do you want from me? I'll give you the give you the Tyrese. What more do you want from me? What more do you want from me? Gotta do the ugly cry. What more do you want from me? So all in all, everything's coming together. Um, I mean, if anything, definitely trying to capitalize off this unfortunate time in regards to actually putting effort into the YouTube and stuff like that. Actually, um, there's a lot of videos actually I recorded, but never got a chance to like one edit if needed, and two kind of actually upload to YouTube after I've streamed it for however long ago. So be on the lookout for that. It's probably a lot of my back recordings. I at least want kind of put on the YouTube just to put on there. At least I'm just doing it for fun and my own entertainment, amusement. So there is also that to look for. If you ever feel so inclined or ever want to, you know, hate me as a person. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know your life. All right. Damn. Yeah, I think that covers it. We housekeep the house. Did some housekeeping. Um, talk about my rating them stuff. YouTube, Twitch. Yeah. So I think that will do it, guys. And I guess see you next time for an apocalyptic, I guess, episode 50. Unfortunately, it's not maybe in the best of times, but hey, try to at least keep some form of entertainment for the folks that do find enjoyment in this, maybe. But yeah. Till next time, guys. RE3, baby. I'm just saying, what RE3, Final Fantasy 7. Ugh, goodness, boy, anything to get our minds off this this crazy time we're in. So surreal. Yeah. Till next time. Get your damn game on. Yeah. And